This is Alyssa. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then I post singing videos like covers and original songs on my other channel, Music by Allie, and on this channel I post story times, challenges, all that jazz, so subscribe, join the Allie crew. Before I get started, I wanted to give a quick announcement that my original song, So Loud, I released the music video for it this morning at 12 a.m. and I would suggest listening to this if you've lost a loved one because I feel like it can help you process through some feelings. And, sometimes it's good to cry to a song just to, let yourself feel. And so I think it's a good song for that. But today I'm going to be reviewing some of the best books that I've read, because something that some of you may or may not know about me is that I love reading. I did take a hiatus from it when I first started social media, but then I decided to get back into it a few years ago. So I'm going to be sharing some of the best books that I've read. I'm going to try to keep the descriptions brief because my camera does not have a lot of storage. This is my second time trying to film this, and it died on me the first time. Okay, so the first one I'm going to be talking about is the Divergent Trilogy by Veronica Roth. So the Divergent Trilogy includes Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant, and I would suggest reading these books if you like dystopian novels, because it's a really good dystopian trilogy, but it also has some romance sprinkled in, and I love romance and dystopian, so I feel like it was perfect for me. Like, it had all that I would want in a book. The next one I'm going to talk about, which is also a dystopian novel, but this time it also has a little bit of romance in it, is Variant and Feedback by Robinson Wells. Personally, I liked Variant better than Feedback because I felt like the very end of Feedback kind of left me a little bit unsatisfied, but I would still recommend reading it because it wasn't a bad book, and it gives you a lot of answers to questions that were introduced in Variant. And it's by Robinson Wells. I don't know if I mentioned that. The next one I'm going to talk about is Beauty and the Besharam. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right. It's a Hindi word, but it's by Lily Vale, and the best thing to say about it is it's a really good book about both friendship and romance, which are things that I love to read about. The next one is The Alchemy of Forever and The Impossibility of Tomorrow, which is the sequel to The Alchemy of Forever. So those books are by Avery Williams, and I would suggest reading them if you like romance and supernatural things. Like, if you're into Twilight, you might enjoy this. That leads me to the next book, which is Thorn Abbey by Nancy Olin, which also it's a ghost story, so it has like some romance, but it also has that supernatural aspect if you're interested in that. The next one I'm going to talk about is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So, The Hate You Give, there's a movie for it, and it's very popular, and but the thing is, if you only watch the movie, you're missing so much of the story, so I would definitely suggest reading it. It basically talks about, like, race issues, so if you want to if you're not already black, well, I feel like if you're black, then you might be able to relate to the story, and if you're not black, you may be able to learn something from the story. The next one that I'm going to be talking about is Piecing Me Together. I actually have a copy of it right now by Renee Watson, and this book, it also has a few things about race issues, but it's also just about, like, finding oneself, and so I like that. And this book, I Love You So Mochi, I also like this book because it's also about finding yourself, but it also includes romance, which I love, and so it was a good book. I have this book, What Happened That Night, by Sandra Block, and oh my gosh, like, I don't even know what to say about it. Like, just read it. Like, I don't want to give anything away, but it's, like, such a good book. It's, like, it has the biggest plot twist at the end, like, the biggest plot twist. So, like, read it knowing that you're going to be shocked out of your pants by the end of the book. But it's a really good book. It has some romance in there, and it also, you may be able to relate to it if you are a trauma survivor, especially if your trauma is around SA. And this book, this is the last one I'm going to be talking about, but I've read so many more books, so, like, let me know in the comments if you want me to make a part 2. But this book is called Fragile Like Us, and it's by Sarah Barnard, and it was such a good book. It didn't have too much romance in it. It had a little bit. But this one was a big book about friendship. And it wasn't just like a little corny friendship message. It was like one of the characters had some serious trauma, and she worked through it, and the main character kind of learned how to be a good friend versus what's not being a good friend. And it was just like, it was a really It was a really good book. It's worth reading. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you want a part 2, let me know. But go check out my song So Loud. I feel like it can help so many people. And I love you guys, and I'm out.